Yo, what's up everybody? It's me, WD Michael, and in today's YouTube video, we're going to be talking about the upcoming 7-star Tera Raid battle event happening in the Pokémon Scarlet video games and the Teal Mask DLC. This week only, they will be featuring Eevee, and this is to celebrate Eevee Day on November 21st. So we have a singular weekend to defeat this 7-star Tera Raid event Eevee with the Mighty Mark. So you only get one opportunity and you only get one of these Eevees. So what I did is I prepared 4 raid builds for you so that you could be as prepared as possible to make sure that you knock out this Eevee and get this added to your team. So let's hop into this video, check out the 4 raid builds, and get you prepared. Okay, so if we want to prepare for this 7-star Tera Raid event, we need to understand the Pokemon that we're going to be battling and the potential that it has in these Tera Raid events. Now, with Eevee, generally when you think about Eevee, you think of a weaker type of Pokemon. And so when they've done 7-star Tera Raid events with some weaker Pokemon like Pikachu, they have given them items. And this is one of those raids where I'm almost guaranteed that they're going to give this Pokemon an item. Very specifically, it's probably going to be the Eevee Light to give it a nice boost in its defense and special defense. So definitely be prepared for that one. It might be a little bit bulkier and tankier than you might be expecting, but nonetheless, it is an Eevee, so I don't think this is going to be a Mewtwo level raid where it's a huge struggle, and if you don't have the right Pokemon and build and doing everything correctly on each turn, I don't think it's going to be one of those ones where we're just going to get absolutely knocked or rocked in this one. So I think it's going to be fairly easy. I think they're definitely going to make them a little bit challenging because it is 7-star, but because of the Pokemon, I think there's kind of a ceiling that it's going to reach, and at that point, it's not going to be as difficult as Mewtwo. So some of the things that I wanted to take a look at, obviously, like with the abilities, almost every one of these 7-star Tera Raids have had their hidden abilities. With Eevee, its hidden ability is kind of, it's not really all that great. So, I mean, chances are they're probably still going to give it its hidden ability and it's not going to really do much, but if they do give it adaptability will actually boost its normal type attack. So if that does happen, it could be a way for them to kind of add a little bit of damage to this Tera Raid. But basically the event details, they're going to be from November 17th to the 20th. You only have 1 weekend to catch this. This isn't going to be like the other 7-star Tera Raids where you have 2 weekends to catch this. If you miss this one, you unfortunately are going to miss it and you're not going to be able to get your opportunity back. So definitely don't miss this. You can only catch one with these 7-star Tera Raids, and they are almost always shiny locked. So I really don't think this one's going to have a difference where you can find one shiny. They're more than likely going to be shiny locked. Now, the cool thing with this is it does get the Mighty Mark, so it's going to have that unrivaled title. The question I have for you today at home, and anybody who's watching this video, is if you do capture this 7-star Tera Raid Eevee, are you going to evolve it? Or are you going to leave it as an Eevee? Because you only get one. And if you do end up evolving it, which one of the Eevee evolutions are you going to choose for your Eevee? That is a rough one because there are a lot of options to choose from. So I'm definitely really curious what some of you at home are going to be picking for your Eevee. Now with this Pokemon, it is going to be a normal Tera, so a lot of the moves we're expecting are going to be some of its normal type moves that it does have access to. So we've got things like Takedown, Last Resort, Double Edge, Covet. It's definitely got a lot of normal moves that it can use. There are some other special attacking normal moves it can use as well. So like, chances are it's probably going to be a mixed attacker. I'm guessing we're going to get a mix of physical and special attack. The other big part of this is 7-star Tera Raid is that Eevee gets a lot of access to moves that will, or a little of like status condition moves that will drop either stats or give you a status condition. So some things that we're probably going to need to look out for is Wish. If it ends up healing itself, that could be a little bit annoying. It does get access to Tickle, which can drop the stats of you. I can't remember exactly what it is. I think it's the attack and defense stat, or it's the defense and special defense. I can't remember off the top of my head right now, but it's a double stat drop on that one. You also do have access to Yawn, so it can be putting us to sleep, which can be very annoying in these Tera Raids. And it also gets access to Charm, which will drop the attack stat of Pokemon by 2. So those are some things that we want to take a look at when we're team building for this one, because there are some things that could make it a little bit challenging if we're not ready for them. Initially, there were some Pokemon I thought were going to be really good in this one. It was going to be Iron Hands, Annihilape, and those two haven't changed. I really think those two are probably going to be our best options for this raid. Now, some of the other Pokemon I thought were going to be good, but after kind of researching and kind of building with some of my moderators, I'm feeling that there might be a couple of better options for these two Pokemon. Koraidon, again, it's our box legendary. It's a fighting type. It's got access to some really good moves. The problem is it doesn't really have any access of like negating any of its attacks unless you give it like a clear amulet or something like that. So I mean, cool, it could definitely work. I didn't end up actually making a build for it for this video, but I definitely can, I almost guarantee you that you're probably going to see them and it probably will work just fine. I don't really see any reason why it wouldn't. The other one was Snorlax. Again, it was part of the whole, like, if we're gonna get charmed or if we're gonna get, you know, any of our stats are gonna get dropped, like there's probably a way to actually take advantage of that. And that's the reason why I think Annihilape is going to be probably the better option, just due to the fact that it gets Defiant. Defiant is a really, really good ability for these raid builds, specifically because a lot of them are trying to drop your stats. So anytime you can get a boosted stat for free is, I mean, it's crucial. So Snorlax, Crydon, still probably good, but I think there's better options. And so we'll talk about those raid builds here next, but let's hop into the first raid build, which I think is probably going to be like just the pinnacle of raid builds for this one. Is probably going to be the best option for soloing and also group play. Like it's going to be the best Pokemon. It fits all the categories, and that's going to be Annihilape. All right, so here we are with our Rage Monkey Pokemon. Annihilape is definitely what I think is going to be the best Pokemon for this raid for two reasons. One, it is 100% immune to all of the normal type attacks from Eevee. Anytime you have a Pokemon that has an immunity to the raid boss attacks, huge. I mean, it just mitigates a ton of damage and it gives you survivability, all sorts of things. It is literally one of the best, like the first things you look for when team building for these, and Annihilape checks it off because it's a ghost Pokemon and normal type moves cannot affect it. So massive check there. The other part of it, which is kind of the reason why Annihilape is so strong, is because it also gets super effective moves into the raid boss. Because Eevee is a normal type and Annihilape is a ghost and fighting, we get both the best worlds. We get immunity to the actual raid boss and we get super effective attacks into it with our fighting type moves. So Annihilape, I mean, insane. And then on top of it, it gets even better with that cherry on top with the fact that Annihilape gets the ability to Defiant. So anytime any of our stats get dropped, it gets +2 attack. So now we're also getting rid of the fact that there's that possibility of getting like a bunch of stat drops. Don't have to worry about it anymore. So honestly, I think Annihilape's going to be just our best Pokemon. On top of the fact that it is honestly just a really good attacking Pokemon and has an absolutely amazing stat pool. So yeah, definitely use Annihilape. It's going to make your life a lot easier. Metronome is a really good item for this one because you're going to be using the same move over and over again with either Drain Punch or Close Combat. So you can just sit there and keep Drain Punching it over and over and over again, and the Metronome will actually boost your attack damage. So it's always great. We're going to be running Adamant on this one, 252 HP, 252 attack, and we're running the Defiant ability. Obviously, we want to make sure that we're not getting our attack stat dropped at all, so that'll definitely help out a lot in that one. Some other options for items you could run. You could definitely run a Shell Bell if you want that extra recovery. Both are going to be fine. I could definitely see uses for both. I just think Metronome will probably be a little bit better. But yeah, so that's Annihilape, definitely one of the top picks for this one. But let's hop into the second raid build, which will probably like a very close second place for this one, and that's going to be Iron Hands. All right, so we have our Paradox Pokemon, Iron Hands. Iron Hands has been known for a long time as being one of the best raid Pokemon to bring, just because it gets Belly Drum and it gets Drain Punch, two of just the best moves in the game for raid builds. So again, another fantastic raid for this one to come into because, well, Eevee's a normal type Pokemon and we can really take advantage of that with our super effective Drain Punches. Now, the thing that Annihilape has that Iron Hands does not have, one, it's not completely immune to its attacks, so you're going to take some damage from Iron Hands. Two is you don't have the Defiant ability, so you can't stop those stat changes. And we can fix that by just adding a clear amulet onto the Iron Hands. So that way we're not worrying about having our attack stat dropped or any of our other defensive stats dropped. We're basically just going to sit there and do exactly what we want to, which is Belly Drum and Drain Punch. Some of the other really cool things with Iron Hands that might help this raid out. One is going to be Electric Terrain. Now, Electric Terrain, one, will help with your Quirk Drive and stuff like that, but it will also help with making sure that you're not falling asleep. Electric Terrain makes it so Pokemon can't get the sleep status, and so with Eevee probably knowing Yawn, this will probably be a really good option to add on your team to make sure that you don't have to worry about all those sleeps happening. Really easy plug and play move to make sure you cover for that one because it's one of its stronger status like moves that Eevee does end up getting, and we're probably going to see it. I'd be really surprised if we didn't. So having an Iron Hands Electric Drain is going to be really good for your team. Obviously, we're going to be running Drain Punch and Belly Drum. Those are its two biggest ones. But I think the other really good move for this one is just going to be Close Combat. I don't think this Eevee is going to be a super strong 7-star Tera Raid. So just having a time where you can just punch it with a massive damage dealing move is probably going to be helpful. So yeah, as far as the other items that you could go, you could definitely go Shell Bell. I don't think that it's going to be a huge issue. I definitely think that Clear Amulet is going to be the better option, but in case the Eevee doesn't have any stat dropping moves, Shell Bell will be another great option, or a Citrus Berry so you can get that recovery after you Belly Drum. Yeah, basic Iron Hands build, I think it's going to be one of the other top tier Pokemon for this one. But let's get into our other raid build, which is going to be, oh, let me see, which one was it? Aha! I forgot. It was the Zapdos. Let's hop into Zapdos. And here we are with Zapdos, another fantastic Defiant Pokemon that can definitely make a lot of work in this raid build. So, honestly, Zapdos is just, it's a really strong Pokemon. It is a legendary Pokemon, obviously being Zapdos. And because it is a fighting type Pokemon with the Defiant ability, it checks off a lot of things for this raid build, and it's honestly probably going to do a ton of damage to this Eevee. So, another great option. Bulk up is really good for this one. You're going to get to that defense boost, and you're also going to get your attack boost. Knockoff will be really cool in this raid because, like I said, most of the 7-star Tera raids don't have an item, but the weaker Pokemon like Pikachu did, and since Eevee is generally a weaker thought of Pokemon, it's probably gonna have an item. So if you can knock that item off, you're gonna make your life a little bit easier. So knockoff, I think, is actually gonna be really good in this one. Another really great move is going to be Focus Energy. So this is going to boost your crit strike damage, or your crit striking percentage, or your chances of getting those crits, which is always going to be great. Anytime you get a crit, going to make your life a lot easier. And then you rock that Thunderous Kick, and you have the option of dropping Eevee's defense down. So all in all, fantastic 4 sets of moves. I would run Shell Bell on this one. We don't have to run Clear Amulet, obviously, because we have the Defiant ability. We're not worried about that. Actually, as a matter of fact, we're hoping that they try to drop our stats so we can get those boosts from Defiant. So Shell Bell, I think, is going to be your best option. It's going to give you some recovery. Zapdos is not the strongest Pokemon or the bulkiest Pokemon like Annihilape or Iron Hands, and can be a little bit frail, so getting some of that HP back is probably going to be helpful. But again, with all these ones, especially these ones, since it's going to be a weaker Pokemon, I think your best bet is just going to be 252 HP, 252 attack, and just come in just blazing and just take this thing out. So yeah, Zapdos I think is gonna be a really good option. But I think so those three were really like heavy attacking Pokemon with just straight up 252 HP, 252 attack. Another raid build that I thought would be really cool is gonna be a Pokemon that can utilize some Iron Defense and Body Press. And so we're gonna get into our 4th raid build, which is gonna be Avalugg. All right, so here we are at our 4th and final raid build for this raid build video, and this is going to be Avalugg. Now, I want to do something a little bit different with this raid build. Obviously, like, we kept seeing all the Defiant Pokemon, all the heavy physical attacking Pokemon. They're all going to be great. I'm sure they're going to be fantastic, but I wanted to build something a little bit different, maybe something a little bit more defensively supportive, and Avalugg came to mind from one of my moderators, so thank you for the suggestion. But I think Avalugg could definitely do some solid work, and there's a few reasons why. One, it has a massive defensive stat. I mean, this thing is hugely defensive, just weighted out. So when you add things like Iron Defense and you start boosting this thing's defense into a crazy high number, you can start dropping some really massive body presses into the raid boss. And I think that this body press from this Pokemon is going to be huge. So Iron Defense body press should do a ton of damage. We've also got Recover to get a little bit of our HP back. Maybe it's got some special attacking moves that are dropping us a little bit lower. Also Snowscape. Snowscape's great because with the changes in Generation 9, whenever you're in the snow, Ice type Pokemon have a boost to their defense, so it'll only help us out a little bit more. So fantastic. We've also got the Black Belt to add a little bit of damage to our fighting type move, which will be our Body Press. Impish Nature to boost our defense and drop our special attack. And with this one, the stats are going to be a little bit different. We're going to go 252 HP and 252 defense, because obviously all of our attack is going to be coming through our defense through Body Press. So the more we can boost our defense, the better. Another item you could possibly run is the Shell Bell. I don't really think Clear Amulet's going to be something that you really need to worry about. I actually kind of forgot that on there. You probably could use Clear Amulet now that I think about it. If you're going to be getting yourself up to +6, who knows, maybe it has a way to get rid of your defense that they add in there. The Pokemon Company has been really good about adding these 7-star Tera Raids and adding a move that the Pokemon doesn't normally know, like Typhlosion and Earthquake. So who knows, they might add some sort of a curveball in here where it drops a bunch of our defense. We don't know. Or maybe it's got like Haze or something. That could definitely be a problem. So if it does have stuff like that, Clear Emmet will be great. Shell Bell's great. Black Belt's fantastic. But yeah, I think this would be really cool, like a side option for some people who want to build a more defensive, bulky, or just play a little bit differently in these raid builds. Avalugg might be that might be another solid option. I'm really curious to see how it's going to work. I know my moderator is going to be building this one so he can play it in the raid builds while we're live on Twitch. So I'm excited to see how it goes, and we'll see how it is. Yo, thank you all so much for coming to this Eevee 7-star Tera Raid guide video where we built 4 different Pokemon that I think are going to counter this raid really easily. Then this hopefully will help you be as prepared as possible for this raid, because again, we only have 1 weekend to defeat this, and if we don't defeat it in this weekend, we are never going to get another opportunity. So I definitely want to make sure that I'm as prepared as possible, because I don't want to miss this one. We've got a bunch of shiny Eevees to get through the mass outbreaks, and we've got this really cool mighty marked Eevee that we can get out of 7-star raids, and I don't want to miss this weekend. So I'll definitely be as prepared as possible. And if you want to come and hang out with me while I'm doing all these events this weekend, make sure you hop on over to my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/WDMichael. I'm usually live after 9 p.m. CST, so if you want to come hang out with me, hop on over there, drop a follow, and then come hang out while I'm live. I would absolutely love to hang out with you and help you defeat a bunch of these raids or shiny hunt in these mass outbreaks. And again, if you like these kind of YouTube videos from me, make sure you hit that like, that subscribe, and that notification bell so you get notified when I drop more videos just like this one on this YouTube channel. And again, thank you all so much for all the support recently. Like I've said in a bunch of these videos, we are getting so close to YouTube partner, and your support has been absolutely amazing recently. I said it in the last video, but we're getting close to the point where I'm not going to be saying this anymore at the end of these videos, because we're going to be YouTube partners soon. And I can't thank you all enough. So seriously, thank you all from the bottom of my heart. It's been absolutely amazing doing this YouTube partner push and getting to this point, and finally almost being there. It's really cool. So thank you all. And again, thank you all so much. I hope you have a fantastic day out in Kitakami in the Paldea region. And until next time, trainers, peace out.